Hello everyone, this is Kiran Kumar and today I am going to conduct the sessions over the trusses, okay, which is nothing but extension of the bars problem, and almost procedure everything will follow the same rules where there is a slight changes in the equations and all. Okay, we will look into that, but the behavior of trusses is similar to that of the bars. Okay, that you should remember. Okay, as we say, discussed these types of problems in the lab also. Let us have a look into the actual meaning. What do you mean by truss, and how truss slightly changes with respect to the bar, and while deriving the stiffness equations, what are all the assumptions, and later on stresses developed. Okay, these are all the contents that I am going to discuss today. The first one. So what do you mean by truss member? Okay, so truss member is nothing but a two force members made up of a bar that are connected by the end of the joints. Okay, so it is nothing but if I take the example of the bar itself. So the bar is always linear, but in case of trusses, truss may be joined together in any manner, and at the ends the joint they are being connected together by means of some joints. Okay, most of the times it is rivet joints that we are going to adopt. Okay, so these joints is in such a way that irrespective of the loading direction, you know, the whole member is subjected to either compressive stresses or tensile stresses. Okay, that is what the actual meaning. Okay, yes. Yes, let us look into the next content. Yes, stress is obviously either tension or compression. Means the stress developed is here also will be axial. Okay, that you should always remember. And which are all the assumptions that we are going to do in this case is where cross section is constant throughout its length. Okay, and it should be an isotropic material. Load is applied in a constant manner and obviously homogeneous material, and loads should be applied at the joints only, that is nothing but the nodes. Okay, and the next assumption, due to the load applied, stress is induced either tensile or compressive stresses. Okay, make sure that these are all the assumptions. In real cases it may slightly deviate. Okay, but since we are making assumptions, you need to consider only these factors. Yes, the next thing is the joint in a truss member is assumed to be frictionless or pin joints. Means there is no such stresses developed at the joints. Okay, so that's what the meaning. And the weight of the bars or the trusses that we are going to neglect. Okay, these are all variety of assumptions that we are going to take. And okay, you need to remember all this. Before getting to start with that the derivations related issues, okay, we should know the two concepts that is related to coordinate system. The previously that we are already familiar with the global coordinate system in your previous syllabus. Okay, so if I fix the coordinate system, okay, like this is x and here it is y and this is z. Okay, so this coordinate system is fixed, okay, with respect to any type of part that we are going to take. But in case of local coordinate system, it is like slightly different. Okay, this is what we call the first one that I have talked is related to global coordinate system. Okay, so let us look into the local coordinate system. The local coordinate system is nothing but, okay, a local coordinate system is nothing but the coordinate system that we are going to consider along the direction of the axis. Okay, so in order to do the example, let's take this as a bar member. Okay, so the direction of the coordinate system that I have took along the direction of its what we call axis. Okay, that is what the actual meaning. And it may be horizontal, or it may be vertical, or it may be in any angle. Okay, that is what the meaning. So if you take another bar member, if it is at an certain inclination, then also the local coordinate system is along the direction of the axis of the system. Okay, so the what is the difference between global and local? Global is always fixed. Okay, like this. Like this, global is always fixed, but in case of local, it is along the direction of the what we call along the direction of the axis of the system. Okay, so if I take its position with respect to the global coordinate system, it is at an angle theta. Okay, that is what the meaning. So we are having flexibility if I use the local coordinate system if you choose local coordinate system. Okay, that is what the difference. Let us quickly come back to the actual systems of the stresses. Okay, about the deflections that we are going to deal today. So initially, let us have two coordinate system. Okay, obviously this one is global coordinate system. Okay, so in the global coordinate system, I'm going to consider a truss element. So the blue member that we are going to take is called as the initial truss member. Okay, so which is at an angle of theta. After considering this, since it is also having the elemental considerations, okay, we are having two nodes, single element, two nodes, 1 and 2, and since it is having the flexibility of moving in any two directions, that is x and y, okay, the deflections may be called as deflections in x direction, deflection in y direction, that is for the node 1. Similarly, for node 2, deflection in x direction and deflection at y direction is named it as Q3 and Q4. Okay, so this is for your understanding purpose. So Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 is nothing but displacement of the nodes in x and y directions. Okay, so that you should remember. But this is, if you just closely observe, these displacements are related to global coordinate system. Okay, but in order to find out the stresses, we should always consider the displacement along the direction of the axis. Okay, in order to consider that, we come across with the local coordinate system. You might have observing that this line indicates the local coordinate system, and it is denoted by say x dash. Okay, why it is useful? To find out the stresses for these parts. And let us have the displacement for the node 1 and node 2 in the direction of the local coordinate system. Okay, so node 1, which is having q1 dash displacement in local coordinate system, node 2 is having q2 dash displacement in x direction only, means the displacement in x dash direction. Okay, so x dash direction. So if I just observe, these two values are really, we require to find out the stresses, but there is always some relation between q1 dash to q1 and q2, q2 dash to q3 and q4. Okay, so let's look into the relations related contents. Okay, so if I take this as a triangle, and by using the triangular sine cosine rules, I can express this much of portions as q1 cos theta. Okay, since it is a triangle and it's adjacent, it becomes q1 cos theta. Similarly, here also, like this, if I consider, then these portions will be q2 sin theta if theta is at this part. Okay, by using the what we call the rule of the angles, okay, then it becomes, this angle becomes theta, so that this horizontal distance in the local coordinate systems q2 sin theta. Okay, therefore q1 dash is nothing but q1 cos theta plus q2 sin theta. Okay, similarly I can express that for q2 dash, that is q2 dash is equal to q3 cos theta plus q4 sin theta. Okay, so like that I can represent q1 dash and q2 dash. And in terms of equations, if you want to represent, this is of this type. Okay, so where we are going to translate those equations by replacing L is equal to cos theta, L is equal to cos theta, and M is equal to sin theta, M is equal to sin theta. Okay, so like that if I replace, then the equations becomes q1l plus q2m, q3l plus q4m. Okay, so as you know, the equations that will represent in terms of matrix form, so if I represent q1 dash, it becomes lm00. Why it's 00? Because we don't have terms q3 and q4 and only the multiplication factors of q1 and q2. So L into q1 plus m into q2. Okay, like that. And for q2 dash it is 00 lm. Why 00? Because we don't have the q1 and q2 factors in this equation. That's it. Okay, so this equation we usually represent, that is this matrix we usually represent as transformation matrix, is called as transformation matrix. Okay, so this is related to the relation of the displacement in local coordinate system to global coordinate system, or transformation relation. Okay, so this equation is very important in further developments of the parts. Okay, so you need to remember this. And later if I go for the derivation of stiffness matrix, the stiffness matrix becomes a 4x4 matrix. Okay, this portion by using the strain energy method. Since derivations is not at all been discussed, we simply go for the direct equation, that is stress in the truss element is equal to AE by L multiplied by some factors L and M, which is represented in terms of L and M. So L square LM, LM M square minus L square LM minus LM M minus M square, like that. Okay, so this one represents stiffness matrix for a single element. And coming to its the nodal degrees of freedom, it can be represented as 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so why it is 1, 2, 3, 4? Because we are having the displacements 1, 2, 3, 4 global displacements q1, q2, q3 and q4. Okay, so we should include all the displacement in x and y directions. That's why stiffness matrix becomes 4x4 matrix for a single truss element. And coming to the stresses developed in the truss element, it becomes sigma is equal to E into epsilon. The same equation is applicable for here also. And since as I said, what we call the strain will be nothing but represented in terms of B matrix, as we seen in the problems of the bars and the derivations of the bar problems. Okay, so it's nothing but B into Q dash. Okay, so what is Q dash from our previous slide? It is nothing but T into Q or L into Q. Okay, so this one, this should be T. Okay, sorry, T into Q. Okay, and we know Q dash as well as B also, where B is equal to 1 divided by L minus 1, 1. Okay, if I do the matrix multiplication, then it becomes, this one is 1 cross 2, and the T matrix is what is that? It is 2 cross 2 cross 4. 2 cross 4. This is 1 cross 2 and this is 2 cross 4, though, so that it becomes 1 cross 4. So 1 cross 4 matrix, and having the Q terms. What is Q terms? Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. Okay. So that if I do the matrix multiplication, it is of this format. So these are all the two equations that we require right now. That is the stiffness matrix, and another one is stress relations of the truss element. Okay. So these two are very important for the next few problems that we are cover in the next slide. Okay. So by taking these two equations, let us look into the problem. Okay, before that there are two factors that we still want to find out, that is the direction cosines. Okay, as we've seen from this equation as well as these two equations, so stiffness matrix is much dependent on the L and M factor. Okay, L is nothing but cos theta and M is nothing but sin theta. Okay, these two we need to find out. In order to find out these two, so we should always have what we call relations related to in terms of coordinate system. Okay, so let us have a look into this diagram. A general truss element which is consisting of two nodes 1 and 2, and having the coordinates of x1 y1 and x2 y2. Okay, so x1 y1 and x2 y2, and later on, if I want to develop the equation of L value, it is nothing but x2 minus x1 divided by length of the element, and for M it is y2 minus y1 divided by length of the element. Okay, so where you closely observe that this equation can be represented as x final minus x initial divided by length of the element, y final minus y initial divided by the length of the element. Okay, so like that also we can write down this equation, so that you should remember. And later on, coming to the length of the element, that can also be represented by using the previous coordinate relations that we have dealt in your primary classes. Okay, length of the element is nothing but square root of x2 minus x1 whole square plus y2 minus y1 whole square. Okay, so we can adapt to these two equations. Okay, total it will be 3. One is for the direction cosines. Okay, these two terms we usually call it as direction cosines. Another one is length of the element. Okay, these two equations are much needed for the later problems. Okay, and so as I said, instead of representing it as 2 and 1, so always go for x final minus x initial, y final minus y initial. Okay, like that. By considering all these factors, okay, let us go for a problem right now. For the 2-bar truss as shown below, determine the nodal displacement, stresses in the each element and reaction forces. Take Young's modulus is equal to 2 into 10 raised to 5 Newton per mm square, and area of the element is equal to 200 mm square. Okay, so we come across with the a 2-bar truss element, as well as what we need to do is we should find out the nodal displacement and stresses. Okay, these are all the things I need to calculate along with the reaction forces. Okay, so once the problem you observe, let us look into the observations related to the truss member. Okay, this is how it looks like. So here what you should consider is the first thing is coordinate system. Okay, so the global coordinate system where you are going to take. Okay, if I observe this, I am going to take global coordinate system exactly from this point. Okay, you can do it in your own way. Okay, so how to take the coordinate system? Okay, in any manner you can take the coordinate system. Okay, global coordinate system assumption is very important for the future things. Okay, so first I took that, and later the element numbers. Okay, as we see, element numbers is already predefined in the problem itself. Okay, there is no such issues. If it is not defined, so you can go for element number. Either you can take this one as element number 1 and this one as element number 2. Okay, this is user flexible contents. Okay, you can do it in a reverse manner. This has 1, this has 2. Okay, in any manner you can take, and it conversely changes the the results also. You should always be aware of that. And later, once you take the element numbers 1 and 2, let's go for the node numbers. Okay, element 1 consisting of node number 1. Okay, that is also given in the problem, and node 2. Okay, and node element 2 consisting of second node. Okay, and third node. Okay, these node numbers and element numbers much needed for to solve any problem. Okay, after that, after defining the node numbers, global coordinate system, element numbers, let us look into the configurations of the problem. That is, node 1 and node 3 is fixed, and at node 2, a vertically downward load with a magnitude of 12 into 10 raised to 3 kilonewton is acting, that is in y direction. Okay, so once all these things are observed, you go for the values related to the what we call the coordinates. Okay, all these things are already defined. Okay, no such issues to calculate all these things. Okay, so once we did that, next we follow the steps involved in FM. Okay, so what is the steps involved FM? Discretization of the structure, derivation of element stiffness matrix, all those things that we will follow today, following this problem. Okay, so first I am going to write down the FEA model. Okay, so if you write down the FEA model, it is similar to for the element 1, only one element, 2 second element. Okay, like that, and provided with the nodal numbers 1, 2, 3. Okay, once you define all this, next thing is, which is very important, you must and should you have to do this. Okay, about defining the global degrees of freedom. Okay, node 1, as we seen in the problem also, okay, means the previous derivation, the node 1 can move in x and y directions as well as all other nodes also. Okay, so that it is having 2 degrees of freedom. That's why I am going to represent one in x direction, another in y direction. Okay, that is what we represented as q1 and q2. And later, defining the forces is also much needed, as we've seen in the previous bar problems. Okay, so F1 is a force in x direction, F2 is a force in y direction. After that, at node 2, extension of that q1, q2 we already represented. That's why it should represent with the q3 and q4. Okay, q3, q4, f3, f4. And coming to the node 3, we are having 2 degrees of freedom once again, q5, q6, and forces, external forces, fy, f6. Okay, so whole system consisting of how many degrees of freedom? 6 degrees of freedom. Okay, so that's you have to always take down, and you have to write down this. It is must and should. Okay, once we defined all this, okay, next part is the presence, one more table that we'll create that will be helpful to find out the values LM, direction coordinates L and M. Okay, so nodal coordinates that we are going to define right now. So node 1, okay, we are having 3 nodes as you seen from the FEA model, 3 nodes, 1, 2, 3, write down that. And node 1, so having the x value of 900. Okay, that is that you will get it from the actual model. So 900, x value is 900. Since it is along the x-axis, we don't have any y coordinate, that's why y value is 0. Coming to the node 2, node 2 is having x value 500 and y value 300. Okay, and coming to the node 3, node 3 is having x value 0 because it is along the y-axis, and y value is 300 mm. Okay, so like that, first you define the nodal coordinates. After that, The one more table that I'm going to use is element connectivity table. Okay, so which is much needed. It will avoid confusions, okay, in the future derivation of or calculation of the stiffness matrix. Okay, so in that the columns, we have so many columns that we are going to define. That is element, initial node, final node, length of the element, direction cosines L comma M, and in addition to that you can define area as one more column, area in mm square, and area as one more column, and in addition to that connectivity, global connectivity, global connectivity. Okay, so we'll take care of that. So global connectivity and area. So let us see which are all the things that you have to do, how to fill this and all those things. Okay, so element table, how many elements that which is there, that I have to represent in the first column. We are having two elements, element 1 and 2, that's why I represents 1 and 2, and it's showing you the initial node and final node. So which is the node related to the element 1. Either you can go for 1 to 2 initial node, either take as 1 to 2 or 2 to 1, both are correct. Okay, so let's go for 1 to 2 only. Initial node as 1, final node as 2. Okay, after that length of the element that I should calculate, direction cosines L and M, I should calculate that, and next one is area. So since area is common for both the elements, so you can represent area as 200 mm square only, 200 mm square. So area should be in mm square. And global connectivity. So what is that global connectivity is? So we starts from node 1 to 2, right? So since we now starts from node 1 to 2, so the global connectivity should be starts from node 1 to 2. That is Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. Q1, Q2, Q3 and Q4. Okay, Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. If you choose, okay, if you choose 2 to 1, it is going to change. That is Q3, Q4, Q1, Q2, like that. Okay, because initial node is 2 and final node becomes 1. Okay, since we choose an initial node as 1 and final node as 2, it starts from Q1, Q2 and later Q3, Q4. Okay, like that. So how to calculate the length of the element? By using our previous relations that we have seen in this one. Okay, so 2 always you take it as x final and 1 as initial, y as y final, y initial. Okay, so like that. So how will you calculate that? By using these things. So length of the element. So let's give for example of that one only. So x final for the element 1, x final is that is 2. Coordinates of 2, x coordinate, that is this value, and coordinates of x1. Final is 2, for node 2 it is 500, initial is 1, for node 1 it is 900. So 500 minus, so it will becomes like this. 500 minus 900 whole square plus, so y final minus y initial. Y final means node 2. Node 2 y coordinate is 300 plus, that is 300 minus y initial. Y initial is the node 1. For the node 1, what is the y coordinate? That will becomes y initial, that is 0 whole square. Okay, so if you solve this equation, that gives you the length of the element 1. Okay, so that is what the 500. In the same way, you can do that for the element 2 also. Direction cosines. Let's talk about direction cosines. For direction cosines L, it is nothing but f final minus x initial divided by length of the element. So length of the element we calculated as it is 500, and let's look into the x final minus x initial. X final means x final is x2 minus x1, x2 minus x1 divided by length of the element, that is 500 minus 900 whole divided by length of the element, that is 500. Okay, so that becomes the value of L. So it is 500. X final is node 2 x value. Y final x initial is 1, node 1 x value 900. Okay, like that you can do that for the m also. So for the m, so m is equal to y final node. Final node is which one? Node 2. Node 2 y value 300. That is 300 minus 0 whole divided by length of the element. It is 500. So that we get the value of m. Okay. So in the same way, should be positive. In the same way, I can do that for the element 2 also. Element 2 initial node is 2 and 3. So I can adopt the same equation, calculate the length of the element, or else you simply go for this diagram itself. Since it is linear parallel to that length, directly you can take that as a 500 also. Okay, once you did that, direction cosines L. So L is equal to, for this case, x final minus x initial, that is x3 minus x2. So what is the value of x3? 0. What is the value of x2? That is 500 divided by 500. Then it becomes minus 1. So direction cosines M, y final minus y initial divided by length of the element. Y final, that is y3 minus y2. So y3 is 300, y2 is also 300, then it becomes 0. Okay. After that, area is also same area, that is 200 mm square, and global connectivity, since it starts from node 2 to 3, node 2 is having Q3, Q4 and then Q5, Q6. Q3, Q4, Q5 and Q6. Okay, So like that, global connectivity starts from Q3, Q4, Q4, Q6. Why it starts from 3 and 4? Because initial node is 2. Okay, so if you take on in the 3, 2, then it goes with the 5, 6, 3, 4 like that. Okay, this is very, very important for giving the degrees of freedom in the stiffness matrix. Once this table you have filled, let's go for the element stiffness matrix, derivation of element stiffness matrix. So if you adopt that equation, then area of the element, look into this table. So area of the first element, that is 200 mm square, multiply by Young's modulus, that is 2 into 10 raised to 5 Newton per mm square. For that also you can make one column here, and later on divided by length of the element. So length of the element is 500. So just substitute that, and later on substitute the value of L and M. Okay, so L value is minus 0.8, M value is 0.6. Okay, so if you substitute all these, then it becomes and you need to calculate similar things. L square, that is 0.8 minus 0.8 square, M into L, that is M is plus 0.6 multiplied by minus 0.8. Okay, like that it becomes minus 0.48. Okay, so like that you have to calculate each value. Okay, once it is finished, this table is finished, the next thing is you simplify these numbers also. Once you simplify these numbers, take a common power, let's go for 10 raised to 4, and multiply the numbers into the matrix. Okay, so if I do that, then it becomes the matrix of this type. Okay, so don't worry that it is having 4 cross 4 contents. So it is almost symmetrical matrix that you should remember. And another one is that can be easily remembered. Only 2 terms, 4 terms are there. Sorry, 3 terms: L square, ML, M square. So if you find out these 3, then it's enough. And other contents are almost come across with a negative sign. Okay, once it is done, then multiply the numbers from the AE by L into the stiffness matrix. Okay, once it is done, the next thing is the node numbers. Okay, how to do this? This is by using this connectivity table. Okay, see, yeah, it starts from 1, 2, 3, 4. No, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's why same format I should adopt here also. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 like that. Okay, next, once the provision for global degrees of freedom has been done, next we will go for the stiffness matrix of the element 2. That is, let us denote it by K2. The equation will be as it is, AE by L into the same matrix. Okay, so next, substituting all those contents related to the element 2. So element 2 consisting of length of the element as 500, cross sectional area as 200 mm square, and Young's modulus as 20 10 raised to 5. Okay, all these things you just substitute, and it is similar to the previous stiffness matrix only, but the values of L and M you should choose from here. L is minus 1 and M is 0. Okay, so substitute those things. Minus 1 square, since M is 0, those terms will be 0, and here it is minus of 1. Okay, so like that, only the terms related to the L will be there, because the L is having minus 1. Okay, and thereafter just simplify the external AE by L terms and simply multiply the terms numbers into the coefficients of the matrix. Okay, so if you do that, then it becomes in this format. Keep the same powers which is maintained in the element 1. Okay, otherwise while doing summing it will a problem. Okay, 10 raised to 4 I have maintained, the same 10 raised to 4 you need to maintain here also. And later on, so giving the global degrees of freedom here, to give the global degrees of freedom, you have to look into this table once again. So I chosen from 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, So that's why I go for 3, 4, 5, 6, 3, 4, 5, 6 for each column and rows. Okay, so once it is done, next we should go for global stiffness matrix. So global stiffness matrix, where we need to go for adding the coefficients one by one. So 1 1 we are having only 5.12, 2 1 minus 3.84, 3 1 minus 5.12, and like that you should add the individual coefficients, okay, into the global values. Okay, what is the first? How will you do that? Let us go for one by one. Global stiffness matrix, which is of the size of the 6 cross 6. Okay, so why it is 6 cross 6? Because we are having 6 degrees of freedom. Okay, since we are having 6 degrees of freedom, so the size will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In the same way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, once it is done, so each coefficient you observe from these two stiffness matrix. So it is 1 1 we are having only one terms, that is 5.12. We just write down that number. Here 2 1 minus 3.84. So 2 1 minus 3.84, 3 1 4 1. Okay, just take it from those terms here. Minus 5.12, 3.8. And 5 to 1, we don't find any connectivity from this table as well as from this table. Okay, so that's why it will be 0 and it will be 0. Likewise, you go for each coefficients, the 2 to 2, 1 to 2, 3 to 4, like that, and look into the connectivity from this element stiffness matrix 1 and 2 and write down those numbers. Okay, the common terms that will adapt will be here 3 to 3 we are having 5.12. If you observe this 3 to 3 also we are having 8. So 5.12 plus 8, then it becomes 13.12. Okay, there only we got the changes, other things which is as usual. 4 into 3, 4 cross 3, we are having minus 3.84, but here the terms are there, but it is 0. Okay, but it is 0, so that it becomes minus 3.84 plus 0, then it becomes minus 3.84 only. And likewise you do the summation and all, and finally we come across with 6 cross 6 matrix. Okay, and later on the next thing is finding the global force vector, and what is the size, that again depend on the terms that you have not denoted here. Okay, yeah, it starts from F1 to F6, therefore all forces are there, so we should go for all the forces in each directions. Okay, external forces. So at node 1 we don't have any external force, that's why F1 F2 is 0. At node 2 we don't have forces in x direction, that is F3, but we are having forces in y direction, that is F4, and its magnitude is 12 into 10 raised to 3, but it is downward direction. Okay, against the axis what I have considered, that's why minus 12 into 10 raised to 3, that is F4 is equal to minus 12 into 10 raised to 3. Okay, so only F4 value I got. F5, we don't have any external force at node 3, we don't have any external force at node in x direction and y direction, that is F5 and F6 are 0, so only term is F4 only. Okay, that's why, so F4 term will be minus 12 into 10 raised to 3. So it is a column matrix, but for time being we go for transpose of that. Okay, since it is a transpose, it becomes a column only. Next, the global, in addition to that, we should go for global displacement vector. obviously it is q1 to q6. So once it is done, the next equation is equilibrium equation, k into q, that is equal to f. Okay, so we already know the global for displacement, what is this, global stiffness matrix, global force vector, and global displacement vector. Just add them, means go for equilibrium equation in this format. Okay, so it come across 6 cross 6 matrix. So once it is done, next part is applying the boundary conditions. Okay, so if you apply the boundary conditions, we should go for, how will you apply the boundary conditions? By looking into the constraints in the given problem. And node 1 is completely fixed, node 3 is completely fixed. See, node 1 is completely fixed and node 3 is also completely fixed. That is q1, q2 and q5, q6 equal to 0. Okay, so what I should do? I should eliminate the terms related to q1, q2, q5, q6. Okay, so that's what it is given. So all displacements are 0 since node 1 and 3 is fixed. Okay, since those are fixed, you need to eliminate those columns and rows. Okay, which is similar that you have seen in the previous bar problems. Okay, like this you have to eliminate all the terms. So once you eliminate that, the remaining terms will be 13.12 minus 3.84 minus 3.84, and it is 2.88. Okay, into 10 raised to 4 q3 q4 is equal to 0 minus 12 into 10 raised to 3. Okay, like that the equation will come, okay, which is given here. So likewise, so if I solve this matrix, obviously I get q3 equal to minus 0.2 mm, q4 equal to minus 0.683 mm. Okay, so that the global displacement vector will be, which is of this format. So I got this one. And the next part is to find out the stresses. You should go for the same equation that we have used in the previous case, that is in the derivation, sigma is equal to E by L minus 1, sorry, minus L minus M, Lm, and multiply by displacement matrix. It is a 4 cross 4, sorry, 4 cross 1 matrix. Okay, next go for suffix 1 for the element 1, for the first element. So again you need to go back to the table. Okay, for element 1, what is the value of Young's modulus? It is 2 into 10 raised to 5. What is the value of length? 500. Direction of cosine, my L equal to minus 0.8, M equal to plus 0.6. Okay, so like that you have to substitute. Okay, minus into minus it becomes plus, so this becomes minus and this becomes minus, and here it becomes plus. Okay, likewise if you do the stress, and what about these displacements? So this also depends on this global connectivity that we have used. There is q1, q2, q3, q4. Okay, that's why the terms will be q1, q2, q3, q4. Okay, so if you do that, I got sigma 1 is equal to minus, and do the multiplication, that is multiplication of the matrix. Okay, like that if you do, I'm getting it as minus 99.992 Newton per mm square. And for the second element, 2 into 10 raised to 5, 5 divided by 500, 1 minus 0. So that is, once again you go back to this table and look into the what is the value of Young's modulus, that is 2 into 10 raised to 5. What is the value of length? Direction cosines, L is minus 1, M is 0. for the element 2. Okay, that's why for the element 2, 2 into 10 raised to 5 divided by 500, L value is minus 1. Here minus into minus, it becomes plus 1 0. M value is 0. Here once again minus 1 and it is 0. Okay, multiply by, so the terms should be considered from this global connectivity Q3, Q4, Q5, Q6. Okay, Q3, Q4, Q3, Q4, Q5, Q6, 3, 4. Okay, terms Q3 and Q4 you have to substitute from the solution. Once you did that, I got the stresses as minus 80 into 10 raised to minus 80 Newton per mm square. Okay, this is how you should solve the problems of trusses. Okay, so just practice it, and if you got any doubts, you can ask me at any time. Okay, thank you everyone for your patience listening. Have a good day.